Assalamualaikum and a very good day. Today, I would like to present about the profit testing on the life insurance product. But before that, this is my group name, Nurul Ain binti Zailan, Nurul Fakihah binti Zamri, Rosmaila binti Omar, and myself, Wan Aluddin Khuzri bin Wan Abdul Rahman Khuzri. As we know, there are a lot of insurance products that are available in the market globally. They show to us that the insurance industry is very competitive to each other. As stated from the Malaysia Deposit Insurance Corporation (MDIC), which also known as PIDM, there are almost 35 insurance companies and 15 takaful operators that are competing in the Malaysia market. Because of this, the insurer must be able to come out with distinct and outstanding product to attract and convince the insured to purchase the policy while still give them a much better profit than the other product available. In this report, we need to determine the premium for our product that fulfill the profit criterion. The report also contains the process in the determining the premium for our proposed product, and for our proposed product, we come up with an endowment life insurance policy for the people aged between 30 to 40 years old. In order the product to be able to sustain in the industry, we focus on conducting profit testing. This step is very crucial since it will give us the ideal, suitable, and appropriate pricing for the premium of our product. It is important because the profit will be able to cover the expenses during the business operation. For the assumption, it was important to consider some assumption in order to evaluate the price of the premium. For our proposed product, which is an endowment policy for the people aged 30 to 40 years old, the death benefit will give RM 35,000 ringgit if the death occur, plus not if the policyholder survive until the date of maturity, it also will give RM 35,000 ringgit. This maturity benefit, which is the sum assured of RM 35,000 ringgit, may be used to finance the retirement of the policyholder. Okay, next, the expenses. The expenses also needed to be considered as we work in the business environment. This is very crucial since the expenses is indeed a must be included to support the business to be still in force in the future. The problem will occur if the expenses is not included, as for example, the company cannot pay the expenses that needed that indeed is essential to the proper business well-being, and even worse, cannot pay the claim to the policyholder itself. It is indeed a must for a business, especially for insurance company, to stay solvent in order to be able to settle all the claim that also able to cover the expenses expected in the future. Okay, there are several expenses that included in the product, which are: first, initial expenses; second, renewal expenses. For initial expenses, RM 500 ringgit and 5% of the first premium. The initial expenses are to cover the sum of all administration spending uh, for the beginning of the policy to be enforced. The second expenses is the renewal expenses, which is to cover admission and commission expenses for the subsequent year. Okay, next, a level premium of RM 3,037 ringgit is paid annually in advance with a total coverage term of the of this policy a total coverage term of the policy in 10 years. As we calculate the cash flow model for this product, we refer to the mortality table from AM92. As we know, the AM92 have the minimum and the maximum age is 17 years old until the 120 years old. However, as for this project, we just focus on the people aged 30 to 40 years old. It is assumed that surrender do not generate any claim expenses. Surrender probability rate is assumed differently based on the year. From year 1, which is age 30, up to year 3, the rate is 5%. Year 3 to year 5, the surrender probability is 6% and increasing by 2% every 2 years until the end of year 9, which is 9%. At the 10 year and the next and the subsequent year, which is the surrender probability will become 0 since the policy has matured and the maturity benefit has been paid if the policy survives during the 10 year of the policy enforcement.
Okay, next, it is profit testing. Before we are implementing our profit testing, there are few tables that need to be shown. First is this mortality rate table. For our product, we use AM92 as a mortality rate table for our basis. The table includes the range of age between 30 until 40 years old. As an additional information, mortality rate table are referred to a live table or an actual table that are used to price insurance products and schemes for individuals by insurance companies in business.
Next, I will present about multiple decrement table. For our case, the mortality table is put based on the assured lives mortality table AM92, value for probability of death at state D. From the table below, we can see that the probability rate of surrender is assumed differently depending on the year. For example, starting from year 1, which is at age 30 until year 2, the surrender probability rate is 5%. For year 3 until 4, the rate is 6%, and so on until the last year, which at T equal to 11. For the force of decrement, which is mu and sigma, are assumed to be constant over individual years of age, and radix of AL30 is assumed 100,000. The formula to calculate the multiple decrement table is shown below. Next is reserve. In most life insurance plans, the expected cost of benefit rises over the lifetime of the policy. This is because an increase in age will increase the probability of death claim. Premiums are more than adequate in the early years to meet the expected cost of benefits. Therefore, setting aside reserve is practical so that to be able to pay for future claims and to stay solvent. The reserve that is used in this product is the gross reserve. The notation is denoted by TV, which means the reserve at time T. Annuity due and endowment assurance are used to calculate the expected present value for premium, expenses, and benefit. The value for gross reserve is shown in the table below. Next is cash flow. Table below shows the expected cash flow for our product. First, the premium is set at RM3,037 annually and constant throughout the policy term for 11 years of endowment. Initial expenses for this product are RM652 and the renewal expenses are RM152 for the subsequent year until the end of the policy term. Besides, the interest on the reserve is increasing as the year of the policy term increasing. Interest on balance for the first year is RM83.48. Meanwhile, the second year until year 11, the value is RM100.98, which is the same because the value for expenses and premium is the same for that year. For the expected claim cost, we can get from probability due to death time with sum assured, which is RM35,000, but at the time 11, the policyholder get the maturity benefit back for an amount RM35,000 because the policy is endowment insurance. For expected surrender cost, the surrender benefit payable is equal to return of premium paid with no interest time with probability of death at state surrender. Next, the expected cost of the increase in reserve is actually to calculate the difference between reserve from the current year and the previous year. Lastly, for expected profit per policy in force at the start of the year is the sum of the premium until the expected cost of the increase in reserve based on the table below. The result that we get for profit per policy for each year is positive profit.
Next, I will explain the profit vector, profit signature, and profit margin. To get our profit margin, we must calculate profit vector first using this formula. And then we get our profit vector RM229.49 up until RM234.56 at year 11. Second step is to calculate our profit signature, and we will get RM229.49 up until RM112.60. So from this table, we can see that this product can bring more profit to our business since our profit signature values are all positives. Lastly, we get our profit margin at 5.8%, which bring more 0.8% from our profit criterion that we target as 5% only for our new product to be sold among Malaysians for the first time. It is proven from the values of profit signature before this that our product will be profitable to be marketable in this industry. Last but not least, I will explain about the sensitivity testing. First, we do sensitivity testing on different interest rates. We use 5 different interest rates, including our original interest rates. So, different interest rate leads to different percentages of profit margin, as we can see here. The small changes in percentages, the between of this is 1% only, produce large gaps between the profit margin percentages, as we can see here. Increase in interest rate will decrease the percentages of margin profit. Next, we do sensitivity testing on different annual premium, initial and renewal expenses. Our original annual premium is RM3,037, initial expenses RM652, and renewal expenses RM152. So first row, we reduce our premium until 2,500 and keep others constant. So we get our profit negative 4.38%, which resulted into negative percentages of margin profit. More money needed to allocate for covering the higher expenses here. Okay, next we keep the premium constant and we reduce the initial expenses and annual expenses up until 600 and 100 respectively. We get our profit 7.25%. And then lastly, we up the annual premium until 3,500, reduce the initial expenses until 600 and keep the renewal expenses constant as the original, and last we will get the profit at 14.77%. These two profits are acceptable since they are at optimum level of profit margin percentage in order to keep this product stay competitive in the markets and also be able to cover all the future claims made by the policyholders. That's all the explanation for sensitivity testing and profit margin.
Okay, the last part is the conclusions. Our product offer a RM3,037 of annual premium, which covered by RM35,000 of sum assured. Therefore, we will gain the profit margin, which is 7.06%. After that, we also make a comparison between our product with these 3 insurance companies that have in Malaysia, which is the Great Eastern Life Insurance, Allianz Insurance, and Zurich Insurance. Great 110 Legacy is a product from Great Eastern Life Insurance. Allianz Premier Link is product from Allianz Insurance, and for the last one is the Zurich Paper 8 is a product from Zurich Insurance. So as we can see here, the annual premium that offered by Great 110 Legacy and Allianz Premier Link is much lower than our product. But Zurich Paper 8 offer a higher annual premium compared to our product. Besides, those 3 insurance companies offer a higher sum assured compared to our product. So, we can say that we are compatible and relevant as a new insurance provider. Next, we also make a comparison between these 2 insurance companies, which are Amir Farhan Insurance Company and Aidina Insurance Company. So as we can see here, based on the comparison between our product with Idina Insurance Company, our competitor provide a higher annual premium and higher sum assured compared to our product. For Amir Farhan Insurance Company, they provide a higher annual premium but lower sum assured compared with our product. So, for the lastly, we can assume that our product has a potential to implement its goal of endowment life insurance.